Hello, hello. Hey, I hear you. So is it?
You are listening to the Netcast.
This is the Netcast live tonight. Weekly podcast produced to help you grow in your relationship with Jesus Christ. I'm Dan Klaus, along with Dan Brenneman.
Hey,
And
do that live now. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I had to throw that live in there. For those of you that are watching live or listening live, Welcome to the Netcast, weekly show put out there to help you as a young person and Christian teen to grow in your relationship with Jesus Christ. As I said at the beginning, I'm Dan Klaus, an assistant pastor here at Memorial Baptist Church in Brooklyn, New York, along with Dan Brenneman, an evangelist out of Bay Ridge Baptist Church. How you doing, man? How's your week going?
I'm pretty good. It's been an easier week. Well, it's only Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I haven't had the hard part of the city, part of the week in the city here yet.
Yeah.
So.
But Fridays are good too.
Hey, this Friday's even better.
It is.
You know why?
Yeah, because we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But we do have something coming up exciting at the end of this week, and it's fall finally.
That's right.
It is beginning to feel like fall.
Yes. I see you're dressed for it.
I am finally.
I see. I tend to work up a sweat, so I'm now just not going to sweat now that it's cooler weather.
Well, you're sporting your Netcast T-shirt or a polo shirt.
Yeah, that's right.
Which looks pretty cool.
The official Netcast.
The official
shirt.
Netcast shirt. Well, for those of you that are watching live tonight, you can see the number on the bottom of the screen there, 908-291-8336. If you want to leave a voicemail, or you can text that message and a message there, a shout out there, and we'll put that on the air. Or you can shoot us an email there, netcastradio@gmail.com. But I was thinking about tonight and what are some different things that we can share with you guys on this week's episode. And my trusty little 3-year-old came through for me, as they always do.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about, man, just over the last 24 hours, my little kid has given me plenty to talk about. He says some crazy things. And so I was thinking, Dan, maybe we should share tonight some of the crazy things that our children have said. And I'm trying to think down through. Just my little boy is called Ian. His name's Ian, and he lives up to his name. But just last night, he and I were sitting out at Dunkin' Donuts, which shout out to Dunkin' Donuts.
You're not giving him coffee already, are you?
He does ask if you leave your coffee sitting out, he will go and drink it.
Oh man, maybe that's what makes him come up with such crazy things to say.
No, that helps him. I don't know how many times over the last couple days he's asked for coffee. Both he and my daughter,
really?
Havala, which I think they're watching tonight. Hi, Havala. Hi, Ian. But just last night we were out with Ian and we were eating a donut. We're sitting outside on a street corner eating a donut, and he looks at me. We're about halfway through our donut, and he says, "You know what?" He says, "I used to get these a lot when I was your age." I said, "Really?" How does he come up with this? "Yeah, I used to get these a lot when I was your age." I'm like, "Buddy, you're 3 years old. I've got you beat by a little bit." But even tonight, like we're sitting there, and we're training him that when he comes out of the bathroom to be dressed, which is it's an important thing when you're that age. Again, he's 3 years old.
And what did he do when he was your age? What did he do?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to know. That's a good question. But you think tonight he was putting on his underpants. He's like, "Man, I can't do this. This just makes my throat hurt putting these on." I'm like, where do you come up with this? He's crazy. But then, I think my mom is watching tonight. So hi, Mom. Thinking about some of the things my daughter has said. And I think the funniest thing.
Now Havala is how old?
She's 6. But I don't know. I don't remember when she said this, but her and my mom were driving somewhere, and she was asking my mom about her mom. So my daughter's great grandmother.
Oh, okay.
And my mom was talking about how she's gone to heaven. And so they're driving down the street for a little ways, and Havla's looking out the window. She's like, "Oh yeah, I see her legs up in the clouds up there." And so, what have your kids said?
Yeah, so
Come on now.
Alec is
my kids
7,
aren't alone.
And Ariana, she's 3, and usually working together they'll come up with something. There was one time actually I had to pull Ariana aside, and I noticed that something had been done in their room that I had told her specifically not to do. So I called her Ari. I said, "Ari, did you do that?" And she said, "No." Learning to lie already. I said, "Well, who did it? Did Alec do it?" "Yes." Just write it off. She's a really good liar. And so I said, "Oh, really? Well, if I call Alec in here and ask him if he did it, what do you think he's going to say?" And she just said, without missing a beat, "Sorry," like as if he really did it.
Hey,
we took him to Chuck E. Cheese a week or so ago. Took him to Chuck E. Cheese, and she is afraid to climb up in that thing where you had the slides and all the tubes and stuff. It's really dark in that first entrance. Only one entrance in there.
Let me stop you there. That is pretty crazy when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like, when we're big and think about it, it's nothing to us. But imagine if you're their size and you're like going through dark tunnels.
Well, it'd be even tighter on us. We're bigger, and it would be like claustrophobia. Can you imagine
crazy.
like a big? I'm what, 6'3", and
you're a beast.
Going 230 pounds going through those tubes. That'd be even scary. It'd be scary for the guy who had to rescue me, the fireman. So anyway, she tried to get there. It was too scary, so she came down and she did like one little rides and she was determined. She wanted to go up in that. She talked about going in it, and so she said to herself, "I'm going to be big and strong." Grr! She did just like that, and then she went up inside, and no problem. She had a good time.
I'm guessing she's seen you do that before. I'm guessing that's what it is.
I'm very strong.
All 6 foot, whatever. What
3 or 4 with shoes on. I'm thinking I'm 6'4".
Yeah. And how much again? You threw that out there. I didn't.
Yeah, 235, 230, 235. Something like that.
Dan's my official netcast bodyguard, just so you know.
I've actually lost weight since I moved to the city. I was pushing 255.
Yeah, you walk a lot here.
And all the bagels and pizza helped. So.
You know what? You know what else will help? We were trying to think of what can we do live on the broadcast to make this a little more exciting. And I found out tonight that my good friend here, Dan, has never had V8. And so I have some here for you.
Oh, yeah. I've seen the commercials.
I have.
Should have had a V8.
I have a can right here. Yeah, should have had a V8.
Maybe I'm going to say should not have had a V8.
Oh, this stuff is actually really, really good.
It looks like it's healthy. 100%.
Oh, it's very healthy. And so if
juice.
you're watching the podcast, you can see that right here, a can of good old-fashioned V8 original 100% vegetable juice. You one full serving of vegetables in this can. Yeah.
One.
And so I thought tonight we should have a Dan drink this and let us know what he thinks about V8. Should have had a V8, and this is free advertising for them. Hopefully it turns out right.
It may be.
It may be.
Free.
Let me see. I think I'm
know.
supposed to shake well.
Shaking it well.
This could actually blow up and really be interesting.
It's not carbonated, right? No, it wouldn't be.
I don't know if that'd make it better or worse.
If they made a carbonated, it's by Campbell's.
Yeah, it can't be wrong.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Okay.
Didn't spray everywhere. That's good. All right, and so he's chugging it.
It smells like SpaghettiOs.
Yeah. I think SpaghettiOs are better.
This first? Ooh.
Yeah. For those of you at home, I know that you are just salivating over this deliciousness.
Oh.
It's good, hey?
I'm sure it's good for you. Man, it is like drinking cold SpaghettiOs.
I think drinking cold SpaghettiOs actually is better than that.
Oh, man, that would really taste nasty if I regurgitated that.
Dude,
I did that one time.
Get some more coffee.
Yeah, cold coffee.
Now that's going to be a good combination right there. You know that is going to be good. How many of you guys like V8? Because I sure don't. They make now V8 Splash, which is supposed to be...
I've had that.
That's like the that's the fruit kind, right?
Why do they call it V8 then?
I don't know. It's the same company, I guess.
I don't know.
I don't even know why they have V8. Well, rate it. A 1 to 10, that's a...
I'll give it an 8.
An 8? That's the bad side or the good side?
I give it 8 vegetables.
You give it a V8.
Yes.
All right. Very good. Well, I'm glad you guys are with us today. We have a question coming up that we should probably answer here.
Oh, yeah.
All right. This week's question comes from Joanne. And she writes, what inspired you guys to start the podcast? Ooh, that's a trick question. I don't know. That's a deep philosophical question. And I don't know if we have enough time tonight to go through this whole
the history
of the podcast.
The very beginnings.
This is episode number 29.
29 weeks ago.
Just tuning in.
We started on an adventure
we did.
Of the Netcast.
I just have to say that we have not missed a week for 29 weeks.
No, there was one podcast that I was not on. What? That was
you. Yeah, there was one podcast when you were on vacation just recently.
And there was one I was barely on when you were on vacation. Yeah, there was
one when we were away and you called in.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, we might have to do that in the near future.
because you're going away.
But
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you tell me first of all. Let's take it back a little bit. What helped you or inspired you to start the Net Rally?
Okay. Yeah,
'Cause
that's sort of
kind of the grandfather of the Netcast.
The grandfather. Okay. Well, the Net Rally began. This is our third year. So 3 years ago, 2011.
Is it really the third year?
It is. The first year was we had one rally canceled because that was the Sandy hurricane.
That's right.
That year. So I'd been here for less than a year really, and I saw in our church at Bay Ridge there was a lot of teens that came together on Friday nights, and I really didn't hear of anything going on, and I really grew up going to teen rallies, and they were such a blessing and a help to me. In fact, and so much that that's how I met my wife, was through going to a teen rally. We went to different churches, and so we. I wanted to do something with this. I started off with doing a survey, asking pastors if they would be interested. And we came together, and we had our first rally. We had 25 teens from about 4 or 5 churches, and it just seemed like the second one got canceled because of Hurricane Sandy, and it just really caught on. And so the
first one was there at Bay Ridge, right?
It was. In fact, every year we've had our first rally at Bay Ridge, and it's become a tradition. And that's how it started, and we wanted to do something where we could get the teens around positive peer pressure, so that they could see other teens, not just in their little circle, because some churches are bigger than others. We wanted to see the small churches and the big churches together, and we to do something positive, do something spiritual, and do something goofy and crazy and fun too.
Yeah.
In fact, I had a comment the last Net Rally that a teen that was actually unsaved, came and enjoyed and said how good of a time he had, and he's around the Christian, young people.
Yeah, I was going to say, for those of you that have never been to a Net Rally, probably one of the craziest Net Rallies we went to was there at Bay Ridge, and they had the M&M game.
That got out of hand.
They had an M&M game where I don't really know what the purpose was or the point, and I don't think anyone really did
I learned
know.
from that if you have too many rules, they are going to be broken.
So it had no rules, and it was just throw M&Ms at each other.
It was called
bags and bags of M&Ms.
And I found one of the M&Ms cleaning the church just a couple of months ago, and that's been almost a year.
The real question is, did you eat it?
No, but my kids my daughter almost did, cleaning a few weeks afterward.
If you leave an M&M long enough, it turns into a Skittle, I think.
I've never heard of that, but
I don't know.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, that would be pretty good. It'd actually get better. Yeah. So you started, or with the church there, started the Net Rally, and then I guess it was just this past year we were talking and doing a podcast was something I had been wanting to do.
Right, it was your brainchild. So
yeah, something I kind of
my grandchild. Your brainchild.
Yeah, you're so much older than me.
Actually, no.
Yeah. We won't get into our ages on here. But we thought, hey, why not have something where you guys can have it and take it with you throughout the week, and just do a once a week thing. And so we started doing it, and it's just a way that you guys can take this with, stay connected, have shout-outs at each other. By the way, let me say it again, if you want to text or call 908-291-8336, or email there at netcastradio@gmail.com for a shout-out to one of your friends that might be listening tonight or watching. Write in, let us know, and we'll get it here, and we'll get that out there tonight for you. And so it's just a way to stay connected every week, and I have fun. I enjoy it.
Oh, yeah,
and I hope the people that listen do. I hope you guys do enjoy it as well. And hopefully it's a challenge, and we really want something practical for you guys, especially as teenagers living for God. It's a day in and day out thing. It's a walk. Hey, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in our challenge tonight, that it's a daily walk to walk with God. And so this is just one little way of doing it, is listening to the podcast, and hopefully it encourages you and challenges you in some way. So that's our question for tonight. What inspired you guys to start the podcast? Thank you, Joanne. I think I'm saying that right for that question. I think she's from Gospel Light, if I'm not mistaken. And so we have a bunch of more questions I went through today and typed in some more that we have. And so,
oh, by the way, that reminds me, I didn't get it written down, but there was a shout-out I didn't get to, didn't put it in the pile last week.
Well, here, I'll let you write it on here, because I got another one.
I'll just say it. John Pierre Williams had a shout-out to all the teen boys and teen girls at Gospel Light.
Oh, yeah.
So
very good.
I include that. So.
Hello. So shout-out from Dr. John to all the teen boys
and girls.
Oh, excellent.
He divided it up. I guess they're really segregated there at Gospel Light. teen boys and teen girls, not just all teens.
Except for that one last week that had 2 shout-outs.
Oh,
she
yeah.
was so popular.
Yeah, so you actually kind of got a third shout-out in there.
Yeah.
Because it's covered the teen girls.
Someday when I'm your age, I want to be as cool as you are. We have another shout-out tonight. This one is from Havala. Ooh, I know who that is. And she says, "Hi, Amatis, I love you. Love Havala." And so, doesn't that just warm your heart? That's actually from my little 6-year-old daughter. Hi, Havala. She told me tonight when I left the house, she said, "Can you wave to me on the podcast?" And so I'm trying to wave to you again. But shouting out to Amatis there from Havala. So keep those shout-outs coming. If you send them in, if we get them while we're on the air tonight, we'll put that out there for you. Otherwise, we'll get them put on next week's episode of the podcast. Well, coming time to our weekly challenge, and Brother Dan has it tonight. And just for those of you that are watching live, we're just a half-hour show, so at 9 o'clock we'll be done, 9 o'clock Eastern. So what's your challenge for us tonight, Dan?
Well, we talked about while we started the netcast was to put something in your walk with the Lord. So I wanted to talk about that because we're talking about our beginnings, and this is kind of a new step. We're talking about walking steps in our podcast, and going to Ephesians chapter 5, and down in verse 15, the Bible says, "See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Wherefore be not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is." And, a lot of our questions that we do get in, a lot of teen discussion has to do, what is the will of God for me? Because they are about to start out on a course that's going to determine a lot of things in their life. I was talking to someone last night who talked about how we placed ourselves, and our grandfather was born somewhere and then they moved somewhere else and they had their family. And you don't know why you end up where you are, but it has to do with where people went, their journey, where it took them, and a lot of times where we go in our journey with Christ will determine where we end up, and that's trying to find out what the will of the Lord is important. Now, talking about our walk, we wanted to put something practical with the netcast into your daily walk, something that you can use. What's practical in our everyday walk? Well, have the right shoes on. You want to, have the right equipment on. So
especially, I just have to say, right,
yeah.
In New York City,
yeah,
you have to have good shoes.
You do.
You need good shoes.
It wouldn't make sense to wear cleats.
That's true.
On the sidewalk, they would really wear down. Or and if you had like steel-toed boots, they would wear. I wore those one time. Well, I've worn them several times, but I remember one particular pair I had. They wore a blister on my foot, and I couldn't do the work that I needed to do. The thing that was supposed to help me actually hurt me. It kind of reminded me of what David trying to wear King Saul's armor.
Yeah.
Something that it just didn't fit right. So we wanted to do something that would fit you and your lifestyle for the teens, young adults, those guys in college, those that are young adults that are still living at home, whatever it is, still maturing, still walking, still progressing in your growth of the Lord. We wanted to help you out with that. I came across another verse in Psalm 23, and a lot of us know Psalm 23 as the shepherd's psalm. And in verse 4 it says, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me." That tells me there that it says, "Thou art with me." We are walking. It could be through valleys. It could be, and that kind of signifies the hard times, the times where it just is difficult for us. It could be the good times, the mountain peaks, wherever it is where we're walking. Christ should be with us, and it's something we ought to keep in mind. As we walk, you've heard the poem about the footprints in the sand.
Oh yeah.
And it points out the story how that there's certain times where you see 2 sets of footprints, and that's supposed to be Jesus walking with you. And then there's times that there was difficult times across the ocean, reflect on a person's life, and there was only 1 set, and the person asked, "Why, Lord, did you leave me there?" And he said, "That was the time I actually picked you up and carried you." It's so important to have a daily walk, a daily routine with the Lord, to walk. And when you walk with someone, say down the sidewalk, you're going to talk to them, right?
Yeah.
it'd be it would be rude to be walking with someone
Unless you
wouldn't
don't
be
know
really with
them.
You just if you just caught up with them by accident. But if you're walking with someone, that means you are having a fellowship. You're communing with them. You're communicating. So that's what has to do with our walk. It has to do with having a conversation, having some interaction. That can be through prayer. It could be through reading. And back in our verse in Ephesians chapter 5, see then that you walk circumspectly. That means to be cautious, not as fools, but as wise. Why? Because a lot of times we're wasting our time, redeeming the time, because the day is evil. How do we waste time when we walk? We're walking the wrong direction. We are walking at a slow pace, or taking our time, or getting distracted by things that would absorb our time. So those are some things to take note of. Be not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. The will of the Lord is not for us to be distracted and set aside on one course when Christ is walking one way. We're walking with Him. And we get confused, I think, a lot of times when we think that Christ is our companion. He's walking with us wherever we go. It ought not to be that way. It ought to be a course in which He is with us because we are following Him.
Oh.
So following can be, in a line. Following where someone goes, you follow after them. But that's not very good companionship. Christ wants us to follow Him together, side by side, but that means we're going to be going where He goes. And so there is some judgment to be left as to who's doing the leading if you're walking side by side. And sometimes we think that we're doing the leading, but it should be Christ. So,
yeah. That's good. Thinking about that too, and just kind of even bringing it out to a broader perspective about walking with Christ is our walk with Him. It's a daily thing, It's a daily thing, and
it's exercise.
Yeah. Let me challenge you guys. Sometimes we look at people that seemingly have arrived spiritually, and kind of say that right off the bat, no one has arrived spiritually. Maybe some people are farther down the road than we are. But no one has arrived spiritually. But sometimes we look at people and it seems like that, and we're like, man, I wish I could just wake up someday and be that way. But that's not how it is. It's not some magic pill you take and all of a sudden you're spiritual or you're where you need to be. But it's a daily walking with God. I was thinking about that as you were earlier, Dan. We were talking about it. I was thinking about Psalm 1 where it talks about, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. So we're not walking with the ungodly, but we're walking with who? As Dan just said, Christ. We're walking with God. And our delight is in His Word, not just here and there, but day and night, every single day we are seeking to walk with Him. And I think of Psalm 119. I'd encourage you guys to go read that psalm sometime. It's a big one. It's a long one. Again, several times in there it talks about how a daily, morning by morning, or a daily, he has that walk and he's in the Word of God. And so what a great challenge, Dan. I appreciate that. And I'd again challenge you guys, think about it. Are you walking with Christ? Are you walking with Him day in and day out? All right, again, our live show tonight, if you have a shout-out or anything left, we have a couple minutes left, so get that text or that email in. Text to 908-291-8336, or you can email at netcastradio@gmail.com. We just got another email in from A. Vargas. I think I know who that is, and the comment or the question is, this is a tough one, Dan. Why are you guys so cool? Hee hee. I think that's referring to you.
Does the he mean it's sarcastic?
Yeah, good point. Here I thought it was a nice comment. And it turns out that they're making fun of us.
Well, if you seriously want to answer to that, you shouldn't have said he. But just because. Yeah. I think it has to do, you got to name your kid Dan to know.
Yeah. I'll put it out there. I'm going to get some brownie points. Okay. It's our wives. Our wives make us cool.
Oh, man, I should have said.
Yeah. It's all of our, Maggie, you make me cool. It's all of our wives. And our moms and dads, they make us cool. We'll just put that all out there. Our ministry minute. Yeah. Our ministry minute tonight. We're going back to you guys again, the listener, and Christian teens around the world. Thinking about this, and I wanted to challenge you guys. Last time we challenged you with the ministry opportunities you have in your school. You have an opportunity to stand up and to be a witness, to stand up and to be a testimony for Christ. But tonight I wanted to challenge you guys that find a place to minister in your local church. Find a church, first of all, that preaches and teaches the Word of God, that takes a stand, and be faithful there. Be faithful in a church. And then find a place in that church where you can minister, where you can serve. And the church is what God is using right now. He is using the local church. Right. And I tell you what, it's an awesome thing to be able to get into a church and to serve God. I just challenged our teens here last week about finding an area of ministry that God has gifted them with. Maybe some are gifted with working with kids. Some are gifted with being outgoing, and they're friendly and can go be a greeter and talk to all the new visitors. And some of us, that's not really a thing we're really good at. But find an area of ministry that God has gifted you with, and go out and serve Him in the local church, in your church there. And I want to challenge you guys to have a ministry this week in your church. Any thoughts, Dan?
I was trying to think of the verse. Let me try to find it real quick because I don't want to misquote it. Proverbs 16:3. I probably find it faster.
I can get there. Probably.
Okay, Proverbs 16:3. It basically is talking about when you don't know what else to do something. Because if you don't know what your gift is, there we go. You got it.
Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit thy works unto the Lord, and thy thoughts shall be established."
So if you don't know what to do, if you're like, I don't know what my gift is, do something. Say, hey, volunteer to youth pastor or to Sunday school teacher and say, hey, I'm trying to find out, what I can do. I just want to do something. Always have your hands open. And God uses people that are busy. He's not going to call you from the couch and say, hey, you're doing nothing. I got a big mission for you. No, he uses the busy people. So get busy.
Yeah, God can use you. I know we've talked about that a couple times on the podcast, and one of my favorite passages of that, and I think I've used it before on here, would be the lad and the feeding of the 5,000, and how that lad he gave it all up to Christ. He gave everything he had to Jesus, and God used him in an awesome and a miraculous way. And God wants to do that with your life. And so let me challenge you. Find a church, again, that preaches the Word of God, that's faithful, and find a place to minister in that church. If you go up to your pastor and say, listen, I just want to serve, be careful, because he might just keel over.
Yeah, you're ready to catch him.
Yeah, be ready to catch him. Have them sit down first and say, I want to find a ministry where I can serve. And think about it. You can be influencing people's lives for the gospel and for Christ. Well, if you listen to the podcast often, you know what that means. It's coming to an end.
Yeah, but we had a couple things we wanted to say. We're almost done.
Yeah, big things.
Yeah, Friday is Camp Calvary.
Yes.
Camp Calvary.
Cheering here somewhere.
The best weekend of the year.
Yeah.
So it is this Friday. You've been registered. Register now. You can go to our website, which you're already on. And thanks for visiting our website, by the way. And you can fill that out. Yeah. Well, if you're listening, you are on it right now. Unless you're listening to the recording.
YouTube.
Well,
or they could be listening to the recording.
You're probably on our website.
Yeah.
So anyway,
go to don't click off of our
wait
yet until we're done. When we're done, then go click the Camp Calvary page.
Yeah, which is over there, I think. It's this way.
It's like down. No,
right there.
I don't know.
Something like that. So yeah, register for that. It's a great time. Dan and I have been going over the schedule. The games have got some crazy things going on. Also, it is at Camp Calvary our yearly ping pong challenge. Dan and I, ever since we started going to Camp Calvary, have had the dreaded ping pong challenge.
Yes.
And I understand.
It is awesome.
That you thought that the advantage that I have had is because of my awesome ping pong paddle here.
Well, as he pulls out his $600 paddle.
No. I don't know.
$500. No.
So anyway, this Friday, you got one now.
I did. I bought mine at Goodwill. Mom, shout out. Goodwill.
So I was going to propose a ping pong challenge that if I win, then you're going to have to do something like, I don't know, wear a Chick-fil-A costume, or I don't know, go do something crazy, like, and then if some remote chance you would win, I would do something.
I'm just going to put this out there. He is challenging because he beats me pretty much every time.
Because I have the paddle, but now you have a paddle, so it's even field now.
No, not really.
So you're not going to accept the challenge? I
will accept the challenge, but it's not fair. I'm just throwing this out there.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, the next podcast, we will talk about what we discussed before, what our consequences are for losing.
By the way, do you guys like the live podcast? Yeah, no? Comment. Let us know. Go on Facebook and let us know if you like this. We're thinking about maybe doing this once a month.
Maybe more.
Maybe more, maybe less. Who knows?
Yeah.
But we'll think about
You know
it.
what we need? We need a catchphrase.
Ooh, I thought you were going to say a mascot. But a catchphrase.
Well, that would work too. Yeah. You could dress up as a mascot.
Coffee cup.
No, we need a catchphrase for the netcast. Maybe you guys can help us out with that.
Help us on Facebook.
I thought of one, but I don't think it's very good. Like the netcast. You never know what you're going to catch.
Yeah, help us out, guys. All right, send in a different one. All right, so Camp.
I brought a net.
Oh, you did bring that.
I did bring a net.
It's a fishing net. What are you doing with that in Brooklyn? I suppose
go on the
we're
netcast.
water. Yeah, that's true. You can cast it.
Yeah. Okay.
So Camp Calvary.
Yes.
What else?
That's
it, right?
Well, you got the net rally. It's in November.
Yeah, that's good. All the way in November.
We'll talk about that later.
Sounds good. All right, thanks for tuning in to this week's Netcast. Comes out every Friday. If you listen to the audio version, they're on our website, iTunes, SoundCloud. If you have a question for us, write us at netcastradio@gmail.com, or you can call us and leave a voicemail at 908-291-8336. That's 908-291-TEEN. Or you can text a question or comment to that if you have a shout-out for someone else that listens in. Go to the Facebook and like us. It's just Net Rally, right? I think it's just Net Rally on Facebook. You do a search for that, you'll find it. And like us, and you can comment and keep up to date with everything on there. Go to our website, www.net-rally.com, and you can find older episodes there, and you can find everything else that's pertinent on our website. So thanks so much for tuning in tonight and tuning in today whenever you're listening to this. And, hey, don't forget that your relationship with Jesus Christ is the most important thing in all the world, so keep walking with Him. We'll see you.
See ya.